Hello, video on demand people. I hope you are all sitting comfortably. We will be beginning very soon. Couple more minutes. We can let this ad break flow through. I decided to get real clever, that the full 3 minutes kicks off a minute into starting stream, so that as soon as the ad break is over, we go straight into it. And then we have to wait a full hour, so that it's not happening, half an hour after the start or whatever. Hello, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. Stand by in 30 seconds for an ad break that we hate, but it must be done because I clicked the yes option on the affiliate stuff without reading that it would force ads to happen whether I liked it or not. I hope you're doing well. We have some good interviews coming up very soon. We've got STYLIST today. Who else have we got? Who else is coming next? We're going to have Edna later on tonight. Ozzy next week. As well as the Schofield brothers. And then a couple of weeks later we will have Leonie. Which will be very cool because I didn't interact with Leonie basically at all. Gonna be cool to hear what Edna got up to. No Silas, no. I think that ship may have sailed. They're just not feeling it. Which I get. Not everyone wants to do it. I think perhaps they were going for it just because people were saying that they should. And then after a little bit of thinking about it, they decided, nah. Which I get. Maybe with another season under their belt with 14 rather. Then maybe they'll be keen for it after season 14. It'll be interesting to see how things go during 14, because I kind of want to keep the engine running, as it were, for season 14. During. So that we can, I don't know what we would talk about. Maybe the staff. Maybe do like check-ins with the staff, see how they think things are going, see how players think things are going. We'll see what it looks like. Let's give STYLIST a buzz. Da-na-na-na. And we can just stand by while the ads finish. Hello. Greetings to you.
Hello.
We've got an ad break running for the next hour and a half. I decided to get clever with it, to have it run right after we start, so that then we wait a full hour before another ad break. And then once that's done,
I don't know how Twitch works. I'm with you.
Yeah, I've only just started learning all the nuts and bolts of it, figuring out what does what, who goes where. Let's see, we can pull that down a bit. Yeah, no, I was thinking about doing during season 14 seeing if I can keep the momentum going, see if people are interested in talking about their experience, sort of like an ad hoc basis, where if stuff has happened and they want to talk about it, then they can. But I don't know, maybe that would lead to too much meta for people's liking. But
I don't know. I think the current format is pretty fine because it gives a space for people to talk about it that they otherwise maybe not have found during the season.
That's right. Have their thoughts in order. Although I would be curious to see how people react during a season while things are going on. But that would be down to the individual's comfort, see what they think about it. Alright, ad breaks are over. Hooray! Welcome, welcome. We have Bun, aka Stylist, aka Kenzo. We're just going to dive right in.
That's correct.
Do you have a preferred name that you want to be called?
Just Bun is fine.
Bun is fine, alrighty. So we're going to dive straight in. You played, is it Kenzo Hyuki?
Yeah, Kenzo Hyuki.
Aka the Stylist for VRP Season 13. First off, however, role-playing... playing in that kind of world, how did you get into role-playing?
My first experience into role-playing was actually in a game called WildStar.
I remember that game. That was an amazing game.
It was your very like pop star space western cowboy kind of MMO, and it was amazing. But unfortunately, it died. So
yeah, there were a few issues with it. I think the end game was one of them. There were certain bugs that weren't fixed in a timely manner. I always looked at it like I thought of Ratchet and Clank. It had that kind of aesthetic to it.
it was a very fresh breath of air in an MMO world where everything is like it has to be super realistic and super serious. And then you have WildStar that doesn't take itself serious but can still deliver a serious story. It was a good time.
It was fun.
I have a lot of fond memories of it.
I didn't play for a super long time. I don't know what I was doing at that time in my life. I think I got into Star Wars: The Old Republic. I think I was playing that with friends of mine because none of them wanted to play with WildStar, but I wanted to play with them, so we ended up playing Old Republic.
They missed out, man. They missed out.
They did, because what I played, I think I got up to like level 20. I didn't get crazy far into it, but what I played, I really, really liked. But my young and dumb desire for fitting in and hanging out with my friends, whether I liked it or not, won out at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I found friends on that game, and they've been friends with me like for the past decade now. So
that's awesome. I had that experience with Rift. So what did you do in role-playing on WildStar?
So obviously, you've played WildStar, so you know that the housing system was absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
People were able to make the absolute craziest housing plots, and my first experience there was a large, like, kind of major hub housing plot that people used. It was basically a nightclub kind of / dance thing, whatever. So my first experience was basically integrating myself with that group, which was pretty slow going, and I kept mostly to the side and occasionally like mostly focused on text RP. But it was, yeah, I mean, it set the pace, I guess, for further development.
Did you guys do only text RP, or was there a voice element using something like Ventrilo, Mumble, something like that?
There probably was, but I was not part of it, so most of
Nice.
mine was text-based.
Okay. Do you prefer text RP or voice RP?
There's two sides to it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy text RP for the medium itself, allowing you to think of responses and type them out in a manner that you wants them to be displayed, so you can think over your answers, basically. But on the other end, voice RP is also really good in that it is probably the most genuine kind of RP you can get, because you have to kind of respond on the spot. With voice, you have a little bit less leniency when it comes to your replies, I feel like.
Yeah, it's very much, you talked about realism with the games, but realism in role playing, where in real life you can make missteps by speaking, and then you have to walk things back or double down or apologize for stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember, I think it was Bacon talked about matching energy when you are in a situation, let's say Valheim, where the majority of people are text RPing. Do you just sync into text RP as well, or do you stick to voice?
I would probably mirror, but at the same time, it also depends on how comfortable I feel. If I feel really comfortable around said people, then I am also a bit more lenient to using voice, or stay using voice, even though they are text RPing. Because I also know that when someone is text RPing, you need to give them time to reply.
Yes.
There are people who do not give you that time. I've experienced them personally. It's annoying to deal with, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's something that we can only be so aware of, and maybe they're new players and they just haven't experienced text RP very much. Maybe voice RP is the only thing that they've done.
Yeah.
Hello, we have Armory in the chat. Oh, think up questions, folks.
Oh, he's coming in to spy. He's coming in to learn all the dirty secrets. I know what it is.
Dirty spy. If folks, if you have questions for Bun, throw them in the chat. We can talk about them. We can ask them. So Wildstar, did you do anything after Wildstar, or was there a gap and then you came into VRP?
I kind of fell into tabletop RPG after Wildstar because I didn't really find any other games where I felt like, yeah, this is my new community for like finding RP and stuff. Started out with a Western Marches type game, a lot of like sandbox elements to it, pick your own adventure, that kind of deal. Which sadly kind of fell apart because the DM decided to go full murder hobo and annihilate the party members. So.
Oh, great. We love that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, I played Shadowrun actually for a couple of years on a living server community on Discord.
Okay.
Kind of like how VRP is being done, but tabletop RPGs, so DMs kind of create sessions and you sign up for them and you get a slot and that kind of stuff, and then you get to have a session with them, basically.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of those living communities where they can sort of roleplay amongst themselves, but you sign up for a run in terms of Shadowrun. Did you want to shout out any particular living community?
No, because the living community I was part of died. So.
Oh, that's a shame.
There was a lot of drama happening behind the scenes with the admins, and they decided to just quit. So,
are you a bit of a sci-fi fan? Because you played Wildstar, you did Shadowrun. Is that your preferred genre, or can you kind of jump between fantasy, sci-fi?
I jump between, but I kind of like a blend of both. Like, sure, you can have science, sci-fi, but I like having sci-fi and then having fantasy elements kind of just put into it. Like,
hence Shadowrun.
Fantasy races, magic even explained through other various means, that kind of stuff. But, you can still put it in somewhat of a sci-fi setting if you want to. Like I currently play as part of a Starfinder game with the the setting actually being based off of WildStar. So we
Oh,
are currently
cool.
kind of playing that out. And so we arrived on this new and unexplored planet. Haha. That there's a lot of secrets and elements to it, and there's apparently a secret society that used to live here, but they've now vanished.
Yeah.
How vexing is that?
May or may not have had an ancient something or other that left ancient what's-it-call-its lying around. Building
So, yeah.
question. How long does it take you to make Stylist's shop?
Total build time, I would say at the very least 36 hours of actual time building it.
Holy moly. Right,
And that was before I figured out a better way to do the roofs. So
I see. I think I saw it very, very early on, but I never got there later on. Hello, our mod is here. Greetings, our missing reptile. Speaking of Stylist, so we go WildStar, you go into Living Community with Shadowrun, you do some tabletop stuff. How did you end up with Valheim RP?
I bought Valheim, and I just absolutely adored the game for what it was. I ended up doing like a solo playthrough for my first game up until the mountains. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of miss role playing. Does this game have a role playing community? And I went looking and I found VRP, and they were currently busy with season 5, and I joined in on that. And
5. Alright, so that's going back a little while. It's interesting because we've had a few people now say that I think we've had more people than not say that they found VRP just by thinking to themselves, I wonder if there's a role-playing community here.
yeah.
Which is interesting because usually these things crop up because of referrals and friends inviting friends in. So season 5, what was it like coming into the VRP community at that time? Did you find it it may be an obvious answer, but was it a welcoming thing? Did you feel sort of anxious?
Oh, dude, I had so many nerves going into that because, even back then they were saying like, oh, voice, you can use voice, it's optional, people use text too. And so I prepared myself for the inevitability that I would have to talk to people. Ugh.
Right, yeah, we've had a few folks talk about that, especially the new people being sort of nervous around voice. Did it take you very long to get used to that, or do you still experience some nerves?
No, I don't really experience nerves with that anymore. I think I had the luck of getting kind of like pushed into a specific town during that season that was just incredibly welcoming. Like a lot of the people there were just very open to new arrivals and stuff like that, and they were very, very calm, very people oriented. So they basically took me in, and while it took me some time to adjust, obviously, like you could tell that they actively encouraged me, like basically stepping out of my corner and talking more than actually using text. So
That's good. Interesting. Hello, Essa. Welcome. Apparently, Season 5 text RP was much more rare. That's an interesting comment, that it's become less rare. I wonder if that's because more people have joined and that prefer text RP, or that more people have transitioned to liking text RP more. Data.
Could be a mixture of both, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm hungry for data. I require data. The administrator in me is coming out.
I think part of the reason that voice RP was used much more often back in the day is because the seasons back then as well were a lot more, or a lot less actually, structured, a lot less rule driven or rule controlled. They were more open to just casualness in terms of like people just doing whatever with voice.
Right, more player driven rather than an ongoing story.
Well, people were just more casual when it came to using voice, like, you know, and the characters that they portrayed. Some people loved portraying their characters. Were very, very good at it as well. But yeah, I mean, the landscape of VRP has changed a lot since then, both in the player base, both in the rules, both in the admin team, the admin side of things, I think.
In what way do you think?
It's, well, for starters, it's a different admin team from season 5. I think that's a big difference. But at a certain point, I think VRP also has to hold itself to a certain standard.
Very true.
Which, you know, makes sense, because if you're, you know, trying to do like a serious RP scene and someone comes in and starts blasting like fucking
Soundboards.
you know, soundboards and like music into your ears, it's just incredibly disruptive.
Yeah. Exactly.
That kind of stuff happened a little bit more easily back in the day.
Interesting. What was the discipline like in the early days? Was it very casual? Did people get away with things?
I can't really say for sure, because I only ever ran into one time where there was a unspoken rule that I ended up breaking, and I got brought into a ticket for it.
What'd you break?
I used the harpoon in combat to move someone in place.
Okay. And now we just don't have harpoons.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I don't know. Like I said, I think the landscape has just changed. The player base has changed. They might enjoy text RP more than they do voice. So it's just
you
it's a
can get a
different
little bit more
crowd
creative
nowadays.
with your descriptions as well, because you can do /me, of course, especially like we saw with your crafting RP, as I got to witness one summer evening.
Mm-hmm. The one time that I came by the road wall.
the one time Shaw and Kenzo had a conversation that lasted more than 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Because I think the first one was, I don't know you, I don't trust you, and the second was, I don't know you, I don't trust you, could you fuck off for a couple of minutes while I talk to, I can't remember who it was, I think it was Mora.
Probably Mora, yeah.
Which brings us to Season 13. Let's talk about the Stylist. So you come to character creation, character backstory, Gildemir before the fall. Who was Kenzo before the fall of Gildemir?
So, an important aspect of the character was, you know, knowing the theme of the season being, you know, related around genetics and all that kind of stuff. I decided to make my character an albino for that season, to play into the genetic aspect of things, because, you know, it's mentioned in the lore that, you know, he wants to, you know, Lahir wants to fix the human blueprint and its flaws and that kind of stuff. So I was like, I want to do something with that. And that's why I went with the albinism, which I used as a base for basically his entire life moving forward. He was born into a middle class household. His father didn't like the fact that he looked like a white demon child with red eyes. His mother obviously was able to look past that, but it caused quite a few issues within the household, causing it to deteriorate, and he eventually got sold into slavery by his father. So that was at the ripe old age of 7 when that happened.
7 years old. What kind of environment was he sold into in terms of slavery? Was he abused, beaten?
Yes, but it wasn't necessarily slavery as you would think, like, oh, the children yearn for the mines or that kind of stuff. It, he got sold to a nobleman who had a venerable shop in the market district that sold clothes, basically. However, he was brought in there not for his ability to, at that time, sew leather and that kind of stuff. He was basically portrayed as a source of entertainment for the other nobles venturing to that place because he was treated as a kind of like, look at what I have. I have this weird creature in my house. Isn't it amazing? Like the kind of mockery kind of thing.
Right, like a circus sideshow.
Yeah, basically. So in that environment, he obviously went through a lot of bad shit. He got beaten several times for not following proper commands or whatever, that kind of stuff. So his only really holdfast during that entire time was his memories of his mother and how she treated him, which then obviously bled into his desire to be kind to those who deserve it, which then obviously led into him creating the persona of the stylist and then venturing into the slums to make them proper clothing.
What did his masters think about that?
They didn't know because he always did it at night. So.
Was he locked in the property, or was he allowed free reign to move?
He wasn't allowed free reign, but they gave him a small attic kind of room that had a very small window, so he was able to get out from that.
I see. Did they ever find out?
I honestly did not really think about whether or not they would find out. I just left it at that. I felt like it wasn't really relevant for his story at that point if they did find out. He was already kind of being abused well enough. He didn't need more abuse.
Right. What sort of connections did you establish out of character with other players?
None.
None?
I tried. Yeah. I tried to establish relations first to see if people were interested in playing into the albinism is kind of a weird thing. It's alien. It shouldn't exist. So kind of like I did my research for albinism in medieval times, and there was a section that detailed that it was often utilized and still to this day utilized in forms of witchcraft. So there is a certain kind of value to him as an albino, but more as the use of a reagent rather than him as a person. So,
right, he's viewed like a thing.
Yeah. But I didn't really get any response to that. So then I left it at that, and I just decided, I can't get people to interact with this character beforehand, but that means that I will have to go into 6th gear to get my connections set up early on.
Yes.
So that's what I ended up doing for the first 2 weeks, was basically going around to every single settlement. Every time I saw players around on the map or whatever, I would go over and basically do a stylist bit for them. Get his name out there, get him to be known, that kind of thing.
What was their reaction?
It was an interesting time, because during the first, I don't know, up until I think halfway through Bronze Age, he was walking around with a deer head. So, it was obviously a mask.
One of the deer head masks.
Yeah. It was obviously a mask, and people are, they asked him they kind of, why are you wearing a mask? And it's like, oh, well, it's easier to sell an idea than it is to sell a person. But they were like, oh, yeah, sure. So everyone seemed incredibly agreeable with the fact that there was a guy running around with a deer as a head in the middle of, a place that's swarmed with Wendigos at night. So it's,
Yeah.
but still people were like, it's fine.
Oh, players, come on. You gotta ask more questions, players. Come on. Dig into it a little bit more.
I mean, it's fine, really. Like,
it's the
I
lesson
got
we're
no
learning from all these
RP from
interviews.
it. People were weirded out by the fact that a deer head guy was, making them clothes. So
I think this is how I first heard the name of the stylist. I think someone mentioned him, and Shaw said, "Who the hell's that?" And they said, "Oh, it's some guy walking around with a deer head, with a deer mask." And Shaw's reaction was, "That's a very strange thing to do. That's very odd. I don't know." And I think I asked someone at some point, "Why is he doing that?" And they just said, "I don't know." And Shaw's like, "Oh, okay. You haven't interrogated this idea at all." But we were just never on at the same time. I think our time zones are very difficult to match up because you're in Europe.
yeah, that's correct. And you're not really Australian, you're New Zealand, so that's
that's right.
as well. So.
It's oh god, it's worse. It's worse than Australia. Don't let the Australians hear me say that. Where I've talked about it before, where even trying to play with the Australians, I'm still about 4 hours ahead of them. So when they're all getting off work at 5 o'clock or whatever, and then they get home and maybe they start playing at 6, it's 10 p.m. for me. So it's a pain in the butt, which is why weekend play is when I'm usually on. But
yeah,
Stylist in Gildemere, Iter. Was Stylist at all aware of Lahail as a person?
yes, because in an effort to find out what was the condition that Kenzo had, his parents basically went around to every single doctor in Gildemere that they could find. Even going as far as going to the slums and taking him to like witch doctors and stuff to, just get an opinion from everywhere, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those doctors that they went to was Lahail in his early years. But I wrote it in such a way that at the time, Lahail was already kind of busy with his own plans. So he didn't really give much time to look deeper into Kenzo and his condition.
I see. What was he able to get? Was there anything at all, or was it just a case of, yes, you have a weird kid?
He didn't say anything about it, actually. The only thing that he said was that he has potential.
Potential? What do you think he meant by that?
Which was my idea of being like, Lahail is this guy that sees people as a resource. And so the reason that he says that he had potential is because, he is unique in that he stands apart from everyone else due to his albinism. So there is potential to research there. But obviously he had other plans at the time, so he couldn't really do anything else with that. But that was the only thing that Kenzo got from that interaction. And that is something that he carried forward into after the fall of Gildemere. It came up several times in roleplay as well.
How old was Kenzo at the fall of Gildemere?
Late 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah, something like that.
When it came out that Lahail was doing what he was doing, did Kenzo hear about that? Did he know about that?
Yeah. He kind of did. Obviously, he was appalled, and he felt like he got lucky that the doctor didn't take a greater interest in him.
Mm-hmm.
There was even a particular encounter in the slums during one of his his nights out to supply the people there with clothing, that he almost got kidnapped.
I see.
So he was almost one of the people that got taken, but he managed to get out by basically taking off his jacket or letting his jacket be pulled off, and then basically.
Oh, yes. Classic, yeah. Did Kenzo carry that with him later into post-fall, where it sort of dawns on him that he could have been one of those people?
No, actually, it
It,
is not something that he consciously thought about.
I see. Okay. Do you think that it was an unconscious thing that informed some number of his decisions in life? Like, was he a very cautious person around, I don't know, dark alleys, dark corners, nighttime, that sort of thing?
He was a very cautious person in general,
Mm,
but that was because of his albinism, not necessarily because of the experiences that he had in terms of the kidnappings.
okay.
Um, he felt sad, obviously, because there are people that then later told him, like, oh, my parents got taken, or, my family got taken, and he felt sorry for them because he could also relate. He was almost taken himself.
Yeah, that's right.
But because of his parents abandoning him having no love for the nobleman that he was serviced under, Gildemir's fall came as a sort of release for him. So for him, it was more a factor of like, I want to live in this moment and live a life that I haven't had been able to up until this point.
So for him, the fall of Gildemir, it wasn't a feeling of triumph that the nobles had gotten what they deserved. It was more like a catharsis.
There was a certain kind of, I wouldn't say happiness from it, but he felt a little bit justified in like, they had it coming for them, basically.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think.
Was it Does it justify the fact that thousands of people got annihilated? Probably not. No, like that was still, but there was a sense of like, yes, finally someone's got to them.
I think there was a lot of that sentiment going around. What did his escape look like?
At the time, he was out, I would say, during this in the slums. Although I think it did say that it came at dawn. So he might have been on his way back from the slums, back to the shop. When obviously everything went to shit, and he tried to go back to his parents' house where he used to live, but by the time he got there, the fighting had gotten to such a point that he couldn't really reach it anymore. So he assumed that it got buried with all the rest of the buildings. And while he didn't really care whether or not his father lived, he did think a lot about whether or not his mother had lived through it.
Did he continue thinking about that, or did he eventually let that go?
He eventually let that go up until a certain point that happened later in his story.
Ah, we can talk about that. Meanwhile, he makes it off of Gildemir via boat, like everyone else. Did you have much thought about what kind of people he made it off Gildemir with?
I didn't really give it much thought, no. Given that he would be running through the slums, I would imagine that most of the people that he ran off with were people from the slums trying to escape as well. And given what those people have gone through just their entire lives living there, I would say that none of them probably really looked at each other, and they just ran to save themselves for the most part.
They just wanted to get out. So he makes it to the island with everyone else. What side of the southern coast did you end up at? What did your spawn day, your first few days on the server, look like?
I spawned on the clear area to the right there.
Oh, yes.
between Weissenbach and the pillars to the clear area where there's no forest. I spawned like close to the forest's edge there.
I see. Okay. Which
And I
direction
just
did you
went
go?
north.
North.
I just went north.
A
Yep, I
lot of
just ran
people went
straight north.
north. What did you find?
Yep. Um, not much, but my first encounter was actually the elder that was running around in the grove, like quite a ways up north.
The Elder?
It was called the Aberrant for some reason. Someone renamed it.
Oh, as in like the boss monster Elder.
Yeah, the boss monster elder. He was running around in the Oak Valley of all things.
Holy
So
shit.
there's a valley where there were like a huge amount of large oak trees, and he was just walking around there.
Wow. What did Kenzo think about that?
He was scared out of his fucking mind because obviously, uh, that is a thing that that he had never seen before, and it was about 3 times his size. No, not even that. It was about, I would say, 10 times his size.
Friendly
He was not
SSS.
friendly. He was definitely coded as an enemy when I found him.
Friendly to aberrants. The Elder was just a sweet boy. Essa, who killed him in the end? What happened to that Elder? So you fight Oak Valley. I hadn't gone to the Oak Valley before. Oh, Timbrasa got him? Yeah. They're probably looking for coins or something, I don't know. So you continue north. Which characters did you end up meeting?
So, on my first day of playing, I think the first people that I ran into was actually it was the beginnings of Rivengard.
Trollskogen?
Trollskogen. Even before then, they didn't really have a town set up yet. They were just a hut out towards the northern section of the plain, the meadows.
Oh, yeah.
And there were 3 people. I think one of them was Silas, but I'm not entirely certain about that. And I rocked up with my deer head and introduced myself as a stylist, and they were like, "Oh, the stylist, huh? So what? You do hair or something?" And basically went on to his whole spiel of like, "No, I make clothing," and all of them were like, "Oh man, I need some fancy clothing.
Oh, yeah.
I need your help." And so I for the first encounter, I think that went really well because they just absolutely went with the bit of like, I make exceptional clothing. I can help you. And they just like, it was the most basic as genuine like clothing that he could make at the time because everyone could only make leather armor.
Yeah.
And they went like, oh man, this is perfect. The leather is so soft. It cushions my ass cheeks so well. It's like,
Good on them for going with it. I'll give them that. Did you were you doing your crafting RP at that time, or were you just going for the craft and keeping things moving?
And that first time I did not do the crafting RP yet. No, I just crafted it. Because I was also in the mindset of like, I need to meet as many people as I can.
Yes. Yeah. So you were already on a mission to make those connections.
Yeah. The crafting RP didn't happen until I actually had Paradise set up, I think.
Yeah, I remember, I think in the first, I want to say week 2, week 3, I think I saw the event for Paradise opening. I could be way off there.
Probably the 3rd week, something like that.
Because I remember I saw it, and I really wanted to go along to it, but it was going to take place during my workday.
I mean, you can go there right now, so...
What's Paradise? Oh, let me tell you, my mod. We can go and have a look at Paradise right now. This is the end product, of course. Although I did go and have a look at it early on, and it still looked really awesome.
Paradise was my character's home as well as shop.
Here it is. Let's take this off. Here's the yes, the mailbox where I left the giant head. There was no reason for me to do it because it was so late in the season, but House on Water, yeah, yeah. Look at that.
I had I had a lot of fun building on water for the theme of it, but I later found out that it also came with quite a few difficulties. So that was a bit unfortunate.
What difficulties were they?
So I asked for some help with setting up the garden. Um, but it turns out that plants, foliage, all that kind of stuff needs solid grounds to be able to stand on it.
Oh, I see.
So whenever something was placed down, it would sink to the bottom of the lake.
Oh.
So I then basically had to like make my own garden. Like there was no going around it at that point.
Mm-hmm. Here we are. Cowhide. I love that everyone kept calling it cowhide because even though it's horsehide, it looks like cowhide. Look at this. Look at the.
No. The cowhide is actually for the loxes. That's what.
Oh, the lox hide. Okay. I keep forgetting that everyone called them like lizard cows, even though I don't know how accurate that is. But maybe it is.
There are many names for it.
Oh, look at that. You got some bloodroot helms. Oh, you got 2 of them from the Primus. Interesting.
Yes.
Road Warden's only got 1. I say Road Wardens. Caleb got 1. Shaw liberated it from the Road Warden treasury. Books. Cutie Pie's journal. Extra notes on Cutie Pie. Oh, well. Now we're getting into some stylist lore.
That's not even the juicy part.
No, we're gonna get into that.
Books out there that are incredibly juicy.
So let's start talking about that. Your interactions with aberrants. Nitwit was the first that we encountered. Season 1 of Season 13. Season 1 of the Season 13 TV show.
Yeah. I honestly did not really get that much interaction with Nitwit. There was one encounter in the forest together with Armory, where they basically, I think he mentioned it in his interview, where they convinced Big John or Big Joe or whatever to fight Nitwit. That was pretty funny. They went off with their own little trouble, and they both looked at each other and just went, "What the hell just happened?"
Let's just get out of here. How did the opening of Paradise go?
The notes that I found throughout the season.
Exile is no chain of liberation. Gildemir. Here's the thing, like, I keep seeing Gildemir spelled 2 different ways, with the U and without the U. And at this stage, I feel like I've been Mandelaed because I don't even remember what the actual spelling of it is at this stage.
I
thought that it was without the U. Yeah, I thought that it was without the U. Because gild like gilded, like gold. So, how did Paradise come about? Did you know that you were going to make a big cool shop, or did that come during the season that you decided that this is one of the things that you were going to do?
I wanted to have a storefront for sure, not necessarily in a way of like a merchant and like, oh, I want people to come by and basically buy my stuff or whatever. I mean, partially I wanted that, yes, but at the same time, I knew that was not going to be a liable way of approaching it because of my time zone.
Mm-hmm.
So what ended up happening is that I would basically work on commission in some cases, where people would ask me to make a certain thing and I would make it for them and then bring it to them, or they would come and collect it.
That's a good way of doing things. I like the commission angle. I remember, I think it was, Drago talked about it, where people who would say, hey, I don't need a sword right now, could you make it for me and I'll come by later, where he would actively put in more effort and it would be more special. Did you do that?
No, yes and no, because it was partially already included in the crafting RP that it wasn't just a regular item, it was custom made.
I see. Holy shit, look at that armor. God damn. That's a lot of armor. Holy moly. That is some tough.
Yeah, there were a lot of armors that people didn't make because they lacked a particular resource that
Which
yeah,
one?
I got my hands on.
What
So
was the resource?
dragon eggs.
Ah, dragon eggs. Yeah, not a lot of people had those. I think I stole one by the end because I think Rowan had stored one somewhere in the Mistlands and I found it.
Yeah, there was one player who, as his character came up to me, and was like, "So how do you make this stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, you need a particular resource." And he was like, "Well, what is it?" Well, I can't really tell you that. I mean, this is my craft I'm
That's
talking
right.
about. I can't
Absolutely
tell you
right.
all of my secrets.
Trade secrets, yeah. I like that. I want to do more of that.
So
I think that should be more common.
the stylist ended up being the only one who could actually make the Drake Flame armor and the Onslaught armor.
That's very cool.
And the follow-up armor that he wore at the Battle for Gilmere.
Ah. Here we go. Here's what it looks like. Jeez, look at that. It's so tough. 40 armor? Dang. I'll put it back. I'll be kind. So what was the armor that you wore to the battle?
That was the World Serpent armor.
World Serpent armor. Ah, I see. Proper high fantasy stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I really like the dedication that you had to Stylist's craft, especially because it's hard to do. I know it's been discussed in the server before, where how do you be a smith, armor or weapon, competing with other smiths? That's not just I have better prices, because there is no real way to have a better leather armor than someone else's. And the way you do it, I guess, is the quality of RP that you wrap up in the crafting.
Yeah.
One of the things that
when it comes to crafting RP like that, you aren't selling the armors, you're selling the RP.
That's a really good way of putting it.
I say that, but at the same time, I didn't really get as much of people coming by to actually peruse or purchase or have armors crafted by the stylist. I think partially that had to do, especially towards the end of the season, with where I was located, as well as my hours just differing so much from the active player base.
What do you think you'd do differently if you did this? If you were to do this again, I'm going to be asking this for a lot of things. It's one of the main questions I ask, but for that kind of clothing-based, the Stylist RP, what would you change about it for if you were to do it again? To be able to make it work more in your favor?
More centralized, more with people that either share the vocation or, for example, the trading post, where there is an opportunity to have your work on display, working together with someone else who can sell the armors for you when you're not around. Because I went alone this season. But if you want to have a proper storefront that works, team up with someone. You're going to have such an easier time just getting your stuff out there.
Very true. Would you advocate eventually, especially if it starts getting a little bit more extreme, just shifting your entire home rather than staying in one place?
Yes, I didn't, because I had put so much effort into it, and there was also a lot of story that happened in Paradise that very few people saw, obviously. But I think if your entire bit is styling stuff for people and crafting armor, then yeah, chase the people. it's like hunters chasing the herd wherever they go and migrate towards. Like they need it for sustenance.
You got to go where the people
My
are.
character towards the end of the season kind of very heavily veered away from his persona as the stylist and became something else.
War Spirit legs. Crafted by Pyre. Oh, tell me about that. How'd you get your hands on Pyre crafted armor? That sounds like you had a few dealings.
Well, I had an in with her because I was the stylist, and she was supposedly the best seamstress in the world, you know? So, she had a bit of an issue with a certain thing, and Kenzo ended up helping her out with, or at the very least, selling the idea on how to approach helping her out, which is the machine that he ended up constructing for her at the facility that she has in the mountains.
Oh, which machine is that?
It was essentially an industrial loom.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, that's super cool. There was a giant machine that Glace had at his stronghold as well that it had the shield generator inside it, but I never got the chance to investigate it further for what it was in character.
Hmm.
So you ended up working together with Pyre on armor.
No, that armor was something that Pyre was working on, and was the whole reason that the stylist helped her out, is because she couldn't figure out how to make threads work or hold together. So you see the armor is incredibly damaged. That was the initial set that she had.
Crafted by
The only reason that I got a
Sanguinea.
complete set-
That's going back in time.
Yeah. The only reason that I got a completed set is because I helped her, because of my efforts, the stylist efforts rather, having helped her out in completing her work.
Did you do that industrial loom construction yourself, or did you RP it out and then, God, who was it? Becky, I think, was Pyre. Did she end up building it herself?
I built it entirely by my own hand.
That's cool.
She supplied the range of materials that I needed, so I was in contact with her out of character as well about it.
Right.
But I ended up creating it myself.
It's a cool cape. I like that cape. So let's talk about the Primus, because you've got a few pieces in here that were made by him. What were your interactions with Primus?
Oh boy, the Primus. Here we go. God, he kickstarted an entire arc that I had not anticipated.
Oh boy.
During his little Iron Age adventure, when he was going around to people, he did come around to Kenzo, and during one of the attacks on Wormwoods, he basically brought all of them down to their knees, and he demanded them tell him their names. At the time, he had only ever spoken as himself as the stylist, but that was the first time he mentioned his name, which was Kenzo, and it was towards the Primus with a couple of people surrounding it, obviously. But the Primus was one of the first people to actually know his name, and this led down an entire thing where the Primus was constantly trying to convince or maybe even manipulate to a certain degree Kenzo to help him with something. That something ended up being a particular ritual that he completed together with 5 other people that ended up kickstarting the entire arc for the Primus, where Lahale was taking over.
Oh wow. Who were the other 5 people?
Who were the 5 people? I mean, it is kind of my story, but it's also there, so I don't know if I should
Right, okay.
tell.
That's fine. Well, if they want to come and talk about it, then they're welcome to. They know who they are.
Yeah. But yeah, I unfortunately could not make it to the Primus End event for his, where they went into the sewers and stuff because I was away to other countries to visit some friends. So, but I did the whole thing with the Primus. Like I said, it kickstarted an entire arc that I had not anticipated, which was getting the assistance of Echo to a certain degree.
That's very early for Echo. What did that look like? Your interactions with Echo?
Depends on which particular ones that you're asking for, because they changed very drastically over the course of the season.
Well, we'll start with the Primus, where she became involved with that story arc. What was her involvement there?
A favor for the Primus. So basically, Kenzo obviously did not like the way he looked because it's causing nothing but pain. So the Primus offered him a way to change his appearance, basically. The way he worded it was along the lines of, I know someone who can help you with that. I will get her, and you two can figure stuff out, whatever.
I see.
So fast forward to maybe a couple of days later, and Echo shows up to the party, which I had met previously, or the stylist had met previously before that in very brief encounters. So so when the Primus brought her on board, he was like, "Oh fuck."
Panic?
But it ended up kind of also working out for me because I had to go to another country to visit some friends, so I needed to take time away from the game, obviously. So I made a ticket with the admins and set up a kind of reason why he disappeared.
I see.
That reason being Echo taking Kenzo to her house in the mists and basically administering experimentation.
What kind of experimentation? ITER related, obviously.
Probably ITER related, yes. But in a controlled manner. Not all the purple potions that people are chugging. She took the time to actually, almost like a doctor, surgeon kind of deal, injected him directly into his bloodstream with a substance, a mixture of various things that probably contained either, but a lot of other things as well that I have still to this day no idea about what it is. So, the only thing that came from that afterwards was that Echo would, she hoped that he would not spontaneously combust, at least not without her presence.
She talked about, Issa talked about how some of the things that Echo would say is, "Huh, you didn't explode. That's interesting."
He was one of them.
She was one of the experiments. What did Kenzo think about that? Having been experimented on, how did he react?
Well, the treatment was a success. Instead of his albinistic look, he got black hair and green eyes. So his light sensitivity faded away, and he no longer had easy time burning under the sunlight. So, for the first month or two, it was a success.
For the first month or two.
The drawbacks came, which was a return of his previous symptoms, but worse. So he ended up being even more increasingly light sensitive, to the point where under certain circumstances, you would actually be blinded.
I see. Is that why whenever I met him during the daytime, he was hooded? Or was it just for the disguise?
That was partially for the disguise, but also because he was shielding his eyes from the sun, yes.
I really like the fine wood planks. I'm glad that those are in. I hope we keep them. Yes, I hope you're listening. Please keep the bronze hammer. It makes really cool stuff.
Except the clay. The clay is ugly.
Yeah, the clay looks horrible. Every time I saw the clay in large quantities, I thought, come on, guys, you can do better than that.
I mean, I used clay as a base to build on, but for the most of it, I just stone over it. So.
Yeah, I like the stone. One of the comments that Traffy made about the monk monastery is that he would make sure that it was not made out of clay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean.
So what happened next? For at the risk of that being the only thing that I ask for the next hour, what happened next?
During his time under treatment, he obviously, she may be an impossible, like, dangerous and potentially even crazy person, whatever. Intimidating, definitely. That was the big thing, intimidating. She had always felt intimidation as her way of approaching him. But still, for the better part, he was gone for 6 in-game months.
Oh, because of how wacky time gets.
Yes and no, Drago. It was kind of Stockholm, but at the same time, it wasn't. I've had this conversation several times with someone about this, but he obviously developed a way of I want to kind of know more about her because she's obviously treating me, but she also gave me a place to stay during treatment that was arguably better than anything that he had gotten previously in Gildemir. So it shows that at the very least she took care of her experiments or whatever. So he started asking more personal questions and stuff like that and started digging a little bit. And
what did he find?
I mean, obviously, yeah, that was a big thing, is that he was never there against his will. He chose to go there.
Because he wasn't really in any danger, so he didn't really.
He was probably in danger. It's just that if he was nice and he was a good boy, he would probably remain unharmed. So.
I see. Play ball and you'll be okay. Very much what Echo basically operated on. Play ball and she'll be nice to you. Nice, quote unquote, with a little asterisk and footnote related to it. What sorts of things came as a shock to Kenzo when he was getting these answers from Echo? Were there any revelations that came out?
A big part of their interactions. Yeah, I brought that up as that it was mostly as a favor to the Primus that she set up that whole thing. But for most of their interactions, he, partially because of how he chose to be as a person after everything he had been through, basically, he continued to want to be kind. So he, perhaps naively, tried to see good in her, tried to see any sort of humanity in her, despite knowing full well that, she was probably an aberrant. She was most likely an aberrant, given that she could summon purple flames out of nothing and disappear in them at the same time. And, the potential that she was also part of, killing a lot of people. So that was also a factor. But still, he kind of And this was the interesting part. I didn't realize this at the time, but his fascination or his interest ended up kind of slowly evolving into a bit of an obsession. An obsession rooted in his kindness of wanting to see her as more than just the aberrant that everyone wants to see. He wanted to look underneath or wanted to see what she had to show when it wasn't related to all the aberrant stuff.
Because of his experience as who he was.
Yeah.
Did he get what he was looking for?
No.
What did he get?
He got a few very, well, not very, but he got a few like intimate moments where it was a very stark contrast compared to how she presented herself to everyone else. There were times where she came across as confusing to him because he had always seen her as this imposing, intimidating kind of like death bird, basically. And then slowly but surely, there were like these small hints and signs that she was growing hesitant for reasons that he couldn't really understand. But he kind of kept on pushing. So there were a couple of things where it seemed as if he was talking to an entirely different person than the Echo he had seen or known beforehand.
What gave him that impression?
Loss of confidence was the big thing.
Interesting.
Because she always presented herself as incredibly confident and like, I'm in control, I know how things go kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But there were several occasions with Kenzo where it felt like she didn't know what the fuck to do. So it was a very different experience.
Which was maybe related to the fact that, because we've spoken to Essa about this, where Lahail was gone, and she was kind of in denial about the fact that Lahail was dead and gone. But she had an obsession with Lahail. I wonder if there was some crossover there, and that's what caused that shift in what Kenzo perceived. That as he started digging deeper.
I wouldn't really know. That would be something that only she can answer, really.
Was there anything that Kenzo thought he could get out of Echo that was more self-serving? Or actually, better question, what did he think of what everyone else thought about Echo? Or the Aberrants? What did Kenzo think? Because everyone's running around for Aberrant or anti-Aberrant or whatever that may be. What did he think of everyone else's, bickering, factionalism?
Well, that is an interesting question because it is something that I actually thought about myself a couple of times during the season, like how he views Echo compared to how everyone else views Echo. And a big reason for him was that they resorted to judgment when perhaps they should have been more curious.
Asked more questions.
Not just that, but try to look beyond what is presented to them in their face. Because, I mean, his entire thing was that he was a curious person because he had been denied a lot of things during his early development. So his natural curiosity was kind of a big pushing force into wanting to also figure her out.
As we've learned, that's one of
Because
Echo's favorite traits.
she was something completely different from everyone else.
Oh, yes.
Also, because of not really having had any sort of like male role models, and mostly having had women as role models, especially his mother, he felt a little bit more safe and, I would say, drawn towards her because of that. And I mean, she probably very obviously played into that as well. I think that's a given.
Hmm. Where
But
I've got time for a brief aside here before an ad break is going to be forced on us. I've been hitting snooze
okay,
for the past few minutes. Feel free to finish that thought.
yeah. As far as like what he thought about what the others thought of her, obviously he felt like, I mean, he was angry to a certain degree. There was at a certain point there was an attack on Echo by several people, of which he was informed by Echo. Um, and he flipped the fuck out in his return letter to her. He was absolutely pissed.
Who was it that attacked her? Which attack was this?
Um, I mean, that's an Echo question. Is it all right if I answer this question?
I feel like maybe we should have both of you on. Ad break in 2, 1. No, that's okay. I'll get it. I don't think it starts immediately. I get a little thing. It's going to show up in the next few moments. But I don't. Someone, I can't remember who it was. Private Goo. Yeah, I can't remember who Private Goo is. I feel bad. Bought the some tier 1 subs for a bunch of people, which is really cool. So there may be a few people in here who aren't having to be subjected to the tyranny of adverts. Do you
I mean,
play?
there were 5 people in total, and it happened at
Oh.
her house. Well, not her house, but like the home in the mists.
Oh, okay. So this is coming forward to Mistlands time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because all of my stuff kind of started at Mistlands. My season started at Mistlands. I love the manor. The manor is really, really cool. I liked the custom landscape.
Oh, there's the ad break.
Yep, there it is. Yep, 2 minutes 40 remaining. I just tell it. I tell it to run for the full 3 minutes because otherwise, what happens is I won't be able to turn off pre-rolls, and I really don't want there to be pre-rolls.
Yeah.
So I set it to run the maximum duration at the least repetition, which is once per hour, which I think is pretty good considering if you're watching television, you're getting ads every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When I noticed the shift when I think it was when I was a teenager. I was like 14 or 15, and I noticed that we were getting in like a 10-minute chunk, you'd get like 7 minutes of a show, 3 minutes of ads. And I'm like, oof, I don't like that. That's horrible. Are you kidding me? So how long is it going to take for us to get through this 1.5 hour movie? Oh God, no. I don't want to do that. So if 30 minutes of show, 10 minutes of ads is how our TV does it. Oh, okay, yeah. And I don't like that. That's that's what, 33%? That's 33% of your watch time on television is advertisements. We already get ads everywhere else. Because what do people do? They go on their phone during ad breaks and they see more ads online. Oh, it's horrible. It's why I I encourage ad blockers. I don't care. I don't care who knows it. I use an ad blocker. I tell other people use an ad blocker on my stream if you can get it working, because I think Twitch has found a way to make ads happen anyway, which they were bound to do. Were there any other builds that you did? Because we're going to show off the statue again. As the kind of finale. But were there any other builds that you did during the season?
I mean, there is the industrial loom, but there's also his house in the mists.
Oh, I don't know about that place. I'll see if I can remember.
Very few people do, because it was made in like the last week of the season.
Where is the industrial loom? I cannot for the life of me remember it. It's on
That is Pyre's workshop. That is where the portals were. So where you have the mountain island on the left, where the river kind of like goes in from the south.
Oh yes. Yeah,
that's where the facility is. You'll find it inside.
We can fly around and find it. Some of our cinemas wanted to do ad breaks mid-movie, and people violently hated that. Yeah, no kidding. Holy moly. Yeah, it's horrible. Go to the cinema and you have to put up with nah, no thanks. And people wonder why everyone uses streaming services. Let's see, was it here? Oh, yeah, I was just about bang on. Hello. Why are those... Oh, right, because I set it to passive. Alright, let's have a look in... Let's have a look in this here workshop. Ball this way. Ball. Alright, we are back. This is the industrial loom. Cool as hell. Oh my god, that's so cool. What does that say? Pure Iter Particle Infusion Unit. There's the loom wheel unit. This is so cool, man. So those sharpening stones? Oh no, you use item stands with sharpening stones. Very clever. Clay collector for that kind of machine look to it. Flex goes in there. Pipe unit connection point. Oh yeah, and you got the two artisan tables tilted towards each other. So it looks a little bit... It's got some of that weird fantasy going on. The loom wheel unit. Look at those. Oh, you use the library wheel.
Wheels, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I wish that I could, like, no-clip and go into first person, because I don't want to break this. Come on, up we go. Yeah, here we go. Let me take off this cape. There we go, that makes it a little bit easier. Look at that. That's so cool. Holy shit. Oh yeah, Lee, you have no idea how much creativity. Watch, I think in the VRP server, there is a video that I think Tay posted, and that's got some stuff from previous seasons. I showed my buddy Reptile in here. I showed them the Season 12 map after Season 12 had finished, and that's where my sort of hype for the server had started coming up. Look at that through there! Oh my god, that's so cool! And you've got all of these sticking towards each other. What are these? Oh, they're spears. Ah.
Yeah. They're supposed to indicate like threads, like lanes of thread.
Yeah, that does it move when in use? Well, because they're multiple things put together, I don't think it would. But if I were to feed, if I had some flax, God, what's the give?
It wouldn't move.
No, it wouldn't move the whole thing.
Those clay collectors require a clay node to actually work.
Or being put like near the shore, I think. I never really figured out how clay collectors worked, and I didn't really care for clay anyway, so I never put in any effort to figure it out.
I mean, the idea of this was that, you know, the machine would be built, and the reason that there are separate units is because there was supposed to be a reverse heist where a team of a couple of humans, as well as Pyre and her dogs, would take parts of this machine and basically go to the facility in the plains and install it there as a reverse heist and then basically get it to work. But unfortunately, due to time and scheduling, that never happened.
Oh, because Glace was able to get... Glace had looms working, but Pyre didn't.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's cool. Yeah, I got to steal from Glace's stronghold. That was nice. It was quite late, and I think Withers was the one? No, whoever... who played Glace? I can't remember. I lose the name.
Aussie.
Aussie. Who is on the list, by the way, in a week or something. I've got it on the schedule. Aussie is going to be coming on to have a little chat about... They were keen on behind-the-scenes stuff, which is really cool, because that's mainly why I want to talk to admins, to hear about the behind-the-scenes things. So we were... When last we left our hero, Stylist had heard about this attack. Echo had been attacked at her home.
It wasn't her home, but it was a place in the mists that people assumed was her home.
Ah, I see. Which location was this? Because I know there was her actual home, which was this place over on the eastern coast. Where did they think was her home? Was it by the refineries?
No, I mean, I think people assumed that the big mansion was her house, but I don't think it was actually confirmed that she actually lived there. So I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, I thought that it was, because I was skeptical about it, but I think that Essa said that it was her place. Because it's what led to all of her labs.
That's fair.
So what did Stylist think of that? You'd said that he sent a very angry letter back to her when he heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first line in those letters were, "Are you hurt? Are you okay?" So he obviously he prioritized his care for her and, you know, making sure that she's okay. After that, he went on a rant about how he hated the fact that, you know, they went up and attacked her, and that he wasn't there to be able to help or at least, you know, do something about it.
What was her response to that? Did you get any?
He did get a response to that, which was basically her telling him that you wouldn't have changed the outcome of that in any way, and I am not hurt in a way that, you know, humans would usually get hurt.
Right.
She just made it look like she got hurt.
In no way that matters.
Mm-hmm.
What came after that? Did he continue? It sounds like he continued hanging out with her and at least meeting with her in some way.
Yeah. He obviously, another section that was going on at the time, another story thread, was that the 5 individuals who had helped the Primus with their ritual had also been left instructions by the Primus to how to rebuild him.
Ah.
So a big part of that was the task that him and one other person were given to work on together was rebuilding his body, basically. And he had no clue how to begin doing that, obviously. Like, how do you make a body? Like, that's just weird. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
So he went to the only person that he believed could be able to fashion a body for the Primus, which was, again, Echo. And during the rituals and actions required by Echo to create this body, he learned a couple of things about that she missed or hadn't been able to do in a while since the Primus had died.
What did he learn?
Part of which I should bring up the fact that there's a big thing that I missed mentioning, which is throughout the season, I'm not entirely sure exactly when they started developing, or what was the initial reason behind it, but him and Echo had a certain connection going in that she could determine his feelings and emotions, or his emotional state rather, through the vibrations of his heartbeat.
Whoa.
And she could discern his heartbeat from anywhere. That was at least the idea behind it.
So that was real? That wasn't a... We may even have Essa be able to confirm. Was that a lie, or was that confirmed as true? Is that just something that she told us?
What do you mean?
With the, I can detect you through vibrations, was that a lie that Echo told him, maybe to try and control him? Or did you find out that that was actually true?
It was actually true, because I have a whole ass Raven channel just centered around the vibrations of his heart that channeled his emotions towards her.
Cool.
So it was an actual thing.
That's cool.
And there have been several cases where in her letters to him, she mentioned that she could feel what he was going through, and, feeling how distraught he was about something that happened. Which led to a couple of cases where... Okay.
Oh, it's because of the experimentations. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember that really being cleared up for me. So
it's magic. It's weird.
Yeah, it's it happened. So where was I? Lost my thread of thought.
She'd been talking. She would say things like, "I know what you're going through. We were post attack."
So this connection basically gave a sort of... It made it to where he couldn't really lie about what he was feeling. And there have been several moments where that led to a situation where she showed, at the very least, some form of wanting to console him. A big one was that she offered him the chance to see how she worked with Iter, which basically was the base that I used for any sort of crafting RP with Iter that came afterwards.
All right, what did that look like?
That one RP session that I had with Echo.
How did that change things? Were there during the RP, would there be things that if anyone was paying attention, that there would be a tell that he was using some sort of specialized technique that came from Echo? The big one, I think, but I don't think that people would realize this, but the big one that I always did, that I did without fail, was mimic what she showed him in how she starts with molding the Iter, which was, you have them in their original ball form, the green balls. Mm-hmm.
And you would put on some rabbit hide gloves, some scale hide gloves, and you would crush them in your hand to make it as if it's a kind of a Play-Doh, and then you would start basically molding it into a shape that you liked.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's what you did when you made armor for sure, bro.
Yeah. So obviously the lesson that he got from her was a very it was a showcase of what could be done with it. He obviously kind of gave it his own swing in regards to tailoring.
I remember that it was like threads. It would be like he's sewing with just his hands.
Yeah, but he would first have to mold it basically into a shape that would allow him to use it as threads, which is interesting because it led into a situation where he made a set piece for Echo that was entirely woven out of Eider. There were no actual threads involved. It was entirely woven from Eider thread.
What did he make?
Well, from what I could gather at very least, she was always going around with like the robes of Embla and then like the hood and stuff.
Yes.
He made the Mistlands variant, basically the red one, for her.
Ah.
That was the in-game look for it. However, I actually went looking for reference images that I then sent to Essa, and then basically like this is what the actual thing looks like.
Right. Narratively, this is what this looks like.
Yeah. So again, it was a custom-made outfit.
When she changed over to the Iter weave robes. Ah. Is that what I have? I can't remember. I don't think so. Oh yeah, Iter weave robes. Yeah, there we go. It's what I eventually hadn't made these from me, but obviously, Echoes look cooler. She visited Shaw right after her. Whoa! Right off the back of having those made. Wow, that's pretty cool. Is that when... Would that have been when she gave him the fire staff? Or would that have been the first meeting between them? Essa. Think so, the fire staff. So, yeah, I thought she looked different. I just couldn't put my finger on it, and because I was partially panicking because Shaw was still aware that she's a very dangerous individual. So commenting like, "You look different." So, I don't know how she's gonna different how. I don't fucking know. I don't know what I mean when I say that. It's just instinct. That's very cool.
But yeah, I wrote a character lore about that as well, where he was like, "Oh, finally it's finished," that kind of stuff. So
everyone go look at the VRP server, go look at the character lore posts for other characters, read their stuff.
It was a very kind of interesting and also sweet moment when he was able to give her the garments, basically.
It was the one piece of clothing she could see in detail, of course, because it was made from Iter, because she's blind.
That was a thing as well during the conversation that they had following him making that, was that he had picked up that she could see Iter because of the lesson that she showed him how to weave Iter, because he knew that she couldn't see, like he sees, like she was blind to a degree or whatever. And when he was molding his shape, she asked him a question, why that shape? And that was like, he couldn't ask it in the moment, but that was a dead giveaway of like, you can see this stuff.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. And so that confirms it for him.
That confirmed for him, and it's also what led to him basically weaving it entirely out of Eider, because he knew that it would be the only way she could actually fully see it.
Oh, that's so cool. Kind-hearted stylist. For the complex bird lady. What was the next step in their connection together? Because obviously it continued.
Yeah. I think he is probably the only person that was able to spend some time with her that wasn't involved with the whole Aberrant deal. Because there was a certain moment where he had voiced to her that he wanted to fly with her, because he heard from her that she had not been able to do so with anyone else in quite a while. So he wanted to be able to, if there was any sort of way he could provide that opportunity, he would. So following several like moments after the lesson that he got from her in certain revolves to either, he was contacted by her because she had found a potential solution to his request of wanting to fly with her. Which which comically ended up being a very crude solution for a character that is otherwise always very refined in her equations and stuff. she ended up she ended up making a huge ass tower off in the ocean on like the eastern shores of the continent, and put a catapult at the top and was like stand on it.
I was about to say, is it a catapult? Yeah.
So
Oh, that's very good.
basically stood on the what do you call it, the basket, and basically launched themselves, and they both launched to the air, and so they flew together. Like he was obviously not actually flying; he was just floating with the feather cloak.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like, I think you could technically classify it as somewhat of a date to a degree, but yeah, that was it was a very like sweet kind of moment between the characters, I think, where they didn't have to think about everything else going on. It was just living in the moment.
What did he think about that? Being able to have that
He
kind
fucking
of
loved it.
yeah, like you could describe that as kind of like a very intimate moment between the two of them. Not romantic, maybe, but you said you could classify that as a date.
It was a moment where they could at least somewhat connect. I think. Because after they landed on the ground, basically, they weren't far off from paradise. There was a moment where Echo hesitated and then asked him if he would be fine the rest of the way. So he obviously took that as like, I would enjoy your company the rest of the way if you're fine with that. So they ended up walking the rest of the way to paradise. I think I remember her saying like, I don't really walk that much. I think she said that, but I can't be too sure.
But she walked anyway.
But she walked anyway. Yeah, they talked a bit about. I mean, he tried to like talk a little bit, and so he brought up like the seasons and stuff. And it's like, do you have like in your memories like a favorite season that you have? She couldn't really reply to that, but he mentioned that his favorite was fall, and he particularly liked the red leaves from the trees.
When it came
But yeah.
to Cutie Pie, because you've got a few of those journals of Cutie Pie, what was Kenzo's interactions with them?
Oh boy.
This sounds like a hell of a story.
Well, no, because he didn't have that much interaction with Cutie Pie, but um, for the first interaction that he had with Cutie Pie, where it mattered, I feel like, is he had heard that Cutie Pie was creating a gate or a portal towards Echo, or to get to her, or whatever. So his initial interest was to try and help him reach that. However, the question that Cutie Pie barraged him with on their first meeting was, "Do you love her?"
Oh.
Which just completely, absolutely flabbergasted him because he was put on the spot and he had no idea how to answer that question at the time.
Did he?
Over time, yeah.
Do you think she
Like I
loved him?
said earlier, it was sort of kind of a little bit of an obsession as well.
Do you think it was returned at all?
It's I don't think it was returned because he was being too pushy with it. He didn't give her enough room to breathe and think on it.
I see.
So obviously she did hesitate when it came to that stuff. There was an interaction earlier where I think that was just after he had made her the garments, where he asked her, like, a thing that he often asked her was, what is it that you want? You as a person, not the aberrants, not Lahail, whatever, you as who you are. And during that particular conversation, she said things that I can never have. To which he replied, but, just because it seems impossible doesn't mean that it is impossible. And isn't it something that you would like to explore? And she didn't give him a no, but she also didn't give him a yes. So
if Kenzo were to have been asked that question,
if he hadn't been as pushy, would it have been different? I honestly cannot say.
If Kenzo were to have been asked that question, what do you think his answer would have been?
You mean asked by her?
By her or anyone?
Whew. I mean, he spoke a lot about what he wanted, but that was part of the issue. Because he was too focused on what he wanted, that he didn't realize until it was far too late that it's not always up to what he wants. So what he wanted, obviously, was he wanted to be loved. He wanted to give love as well. But in the way that he approached it, he forced Echo to, at least that's what I think. I'm not sure about the exact thing on the other end of it, of course. But he kind of wanted Echo to be someone that he wanted her to be, even though he was preaching to her about how he always valued who she wanted to be. So, and that plays obviously into the whole obsession thing, is where he was so desperate to want to love her or be loved by her that he didn't realize until far too late that it did not give her any sort of freedom that he was claiming he was giving her.
Do you think she knew?
Yeah, I think so, to a degree. That's part of the reason why they also at a certain point stopped interacting.
Let's talk about that. At what stage did that happen?
He had found the journal of Elaine.
In the attic, through the lab portal.
Yeah. But what he did is he took it to her. He showed it to her. She was obviously not happy about that because he effectively pulled the rug from under her.
Right.
He did it from a place of wanting to understand her side of it, because obviously in this journal, it was Elaine's side that was being spoken about. He didn't know Echo's side of things, so he wanted to know. Again, he was curious. Like, he wanted to know more about her story, her side of the story.
What was her reaction other than being aggressive? A bit of aggression in there. Because she couldn't read it herself, so he would have had to have read it too.
Actually, she could, because he had penned it down with Iter ink.
Oh, good on him. That's cool.
she, I don't know, again, there was a level of hesitation that there were things that she wanted, but this happened, this exchange happened right after Silas had been going off on a murder spree, or well, not a murder spree, but an attacking spree on the other aberrants, the younger ones, the people of Havenholm, and threatening them and hurting them and whatever. And if that hadn't happened, perhaps that situation would have gone different. But because it did, what she ended up doing at the last moment was pull away and basically tell him, I do not want your death on my conscience. Wow. So from now on, all of our communication is going to happen through ravens.
I see.
And they didn't see each other for 2 years.
Ooh.
And on top of that, the ravens that he sent to her weren't even handled by her. They were handled by his personal HR assistants.
I see. How did Kenzo handle that? Because
he was devastated. Because he felt locked out, but also he felt like it was his fault because he was being too pushy.
Right.
He only realized that until much later, of course, which is part of the reason why he started constructing the home in the mists, because the fallout from that particular event caused him to hurt the bonds that he had forged with the sprites that he was given by Echo, which was, he was told, or well, he figured out, at least to a degree, that the sprite that he was given was fragments or memories of his mother.
Oh.
Whether that is true or not, obviously, is hard to say, because what the wisps, they weren't, like, from what I was told about the wisps during the season, they weren't an actual, like, real person. They were fragments of them, memories, feelings, emotions, that kind of stuff. So what he got from Echo was potentially his mother, but it wasn't her entirely. So
fragments.
The home in the mist is near the mother tree.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the mother tree. I need to mark it. Where the hell?
Open your map.
Yeah. I think I'm close to it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's south of the moon pool on the ridge of the mountain. You see above the lake there.
Mm-hmm.
You have that mountain on the ridges below that, to the south of that.
Ah, okay. Let's walk down there. See if we can find this thing. I'm going to mark it this time.
But because he hurt his bonds, his sprites became torn, so he was carrying around one of those torn spirits.
Oh, yes.
You just head north from here. Go to the grid, the trade. Oh.
Here we are.
No, that's the brewery. It's not it. It is hard to find because it is in the canopies and underneath like all the mangroves and stuff. So yeah, this is where the statue was.
I'm gonna mark the mother tree because this is something that I didn't get to see, very sadly, where a ritual was enacted. Speaking of torn spirits, did the how would we even describe it? This kind of breakup, I guess, between Kenzo and Echo, did that happen before or after her spirit side?
That happened before.
Happened before.
So, how long before do you think?
God, in real life time, I would say it must have happened 2 weeks prior to the event.
Pretty close
No?
together.
Was it pretty close? Must not have
Because
been 2 weeks then. It was maybe a week at most then.
so after this kind of breakup, you've got this torn spirit with you, and then this event happens. Was Kenzo there for that?
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He practically like stayed right at her side the entire time, even when the people from New Gildemir and the what are the Weisenbachs were basically trying to wail on her. He stood at her side. He even took pot shots at a girl. So
Wow.
his crossbow. He was subtly trying to protect her from being harmed by making it more difficult for those who sought to harm her to interrupt her. So
What did he think of her ritual here? After
he
saw what
received a
happened?
letter from her, the first one in a long while that she actually wrote herself to him, that basically told him that he wouldn't understand that this was something she had to do. She needed to reach beyond, and she needed everyone to hate her for it, or something along those lines. And that she would sacrifice her own kind to do it. He obviously had a lot of mixed feelings about that, because he, even at that stage, obviously, he still cared for her. He wanted her to be safe, basically. But it was the first kind of event that he saw that she was moving further beyond where he could follow. So she was basically speeding further ahead than he was, and he couldn't catch up. So that was like the first kind of this was the first event that made him realize, like, I don't think that I can keep up with her anymore.
If he could, would he have gone for it and tried to follow her?
Absolutely.
Right.
No doubt in mind. Like, he would absolutely have followed her. But he was still human, and she had received a massive power boost from this ritual, and there was no way he was going to ever match that. So.
When people were saying the things that they were saying about what Echo had done, mostly bad, talking about how she basically committed genocide against her own people, did he believe her when she said, you know, the tree will heal, the spirits will get better, everything will be fine eventually?
Well, the thing is that they never interacted, so he was never aware of those things.
I see.
He was never told that the tree would heal, whatever. He heard it from others eventually, but he never got a first person. The account of, you know, hearing it from her directly, basically.
Right.
So the only thing he could believe was the people that were believing it. So.
I'm trying to remember what events happened after this, because this is where things were HR slacking off. This is when things started to really ramp up, and we were about to hit the end of the season. I believe this was maybe a week or so before the so-called date between Cutie Pie and Echo.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were there for that, the big sky battle.
Oh yeah, I was there, absolutely.
God, that fight was so cool. That was such a cool fight.
It's really cool.
I want to show it off. Essa, help me out here. Where's it located on the map? Because I know I can go to where... I can just go to a portal and rename one of them. It was the week before. Man, it only happened within 1 week, which is... God, how long is that? Coordinates? Oh god, I can't follow coordinates. I don't have a coordinate thing on here.
Above the water, at least above the ocean, maybe. So
Because I'm trying to remember what the portal was called. God, how many times did all of us players come through this location? The portal hub. God damn.
many times.
Hundreds at least. I noticed at one point near the end of the season, this one became unconnected. And I don't remember which one it was.
I'm not exactly sure about that myself.
We need to, oh yeah, we need to see your mist home while we acquire the coordinates to the Sky Battle place, because I gotta show that off. We've got the Mother Tree.
So it's the mountain north of Mother Tree, and it's on that ledge below it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Stand by. Engage. Whoa. Alright, fly time. Alright, where are we? Oh yeah, this looks like it. This looks like it. No, this isn't it.
It's the big walls behind you, yeah. You're right there. You're right there.
What? What?
Yeah, go back to the ground. You're way up high. Don't be here. Like, it's like right there. It's, you know, east. Like, you're staring at it. It's
oh,
the
that
walls.
thing.
It's right there. Like, to your right. Yes, the wall's there.
Look.
That's the part. That's it.
Look, you say wall, and I just see rain and trees.
Yeah.
Speaking of which. Clear out all the rain and shit. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay, yeah, this will be where you put the workbenches. This is nice. Look at that.
Big shout out to Essa for helping me with the garden, because I could not have done this without her.
Oh, bless.
The soil itself could actually not be planted. So I asked her, like, can you fix this? And she was like, yeah, I can do it. I can basically turn this entire plot into farmlands. And she did it.
Oh, it's so pretty. I love the color.
There is a little bit of a hidden element to the garden, but you can only really see it from a bird's eye view.
Oh. Oh, does it look like a raven? I bet it looks like a raven or something. Yes, it does. Hold on. We've got to get the right... There it is. Bird. Run that way? Run that way. No, yeah, it's run this way. Everything is birds. This entire season, everything is birds.
But in this house, he basically spent the next couple of months, maybe even years, like fixing his bond as well as himself. Basically doing a lot of self-reflecting.
Yeah, because the last piece of this was, of course, Echo dies. He's gone.
Oh, yeah. That absolutely fucking floored him.
Let's talk about that.
He was there for it. He had hoped that she would have fled with the others on the boat, but she came back, and he had to watch her get absolutely demolished by the lightning weapons from New Gildemere. He effectively saw her explode into a puff of smoke and blood. So, yeah. He was scarred for a very long time.
Okay, this command does not work. I've got all the commands turned on as well. Oh, it says thank you. You're welcome. Oh, look at that. That's cool. So that's what a vulture trophy actually looks like as a stand. I never knew that.
There is actually a very interesting letter in this house.
Yes. Is it this one? There is a letter. It is a book called Letter. I'm just gonna leave this on screen while we chat. So, fight in the sky. There's the date. Echo gets, I don't know, wounded? Question mark? Maybe. He starts going around giving all of us aberrants lightning wards. And she's very clearly injured from that.
Yeah, it was later revealed that the injuries was because she did the testing on herself.
Yeah, I had a feeling that that was the case. But Shaw just didn't have that kind of connection with her. He didn't trust her from day one, and he didn't understand why everyone else did. But in the end, he just kind of accepted it. Then the drums of war sound, as it were. Everyone's like, we're gonna march on Old Gildemere to attack. We're gonna take everyone out. What did Kenzo think of that, of the build-up? Did he have anything in particular that he expected to happen?
He expected that something would happen that he wouldn't have liked, and it obviously did. But at that point, after having done so much self-reflection, and after PewDiePie's death, he realized that the most valuable thing that he could do for her in this moment was do as she had asked him to. Because in a previous conversation where he had once again asked her what she wanted, basically, she had told him that she wanted him to be able to live a life that he could not have in Gildemere. Obviously, he has tried to want to protect her occasionally, by insinuating that he would throw himself in front of whatever was going to harm her or whatever, which is not what she wanted. So even if it hurts so incredibly much to watch her die in front of his eyes, basically, he still wanted to keep that promise, which was to live on for her. That was the best thing that he could do for her in that moment.
And when the time came where Eikthyr showed up, big ol' lightning moose, and then Echo shows up fighting all of us off, what was he thinking?
I will be by her side no matter what. And he did. When Echo showed up, he never left her side. Even when she was fighting off 5 other people at the same time. He didn't interfere, but he was also not leaving where they were basically fighting. He was always tracking her. He was always following her.
And then she dies. What did he do immediately afterward?
I wish I would have done it differently, but at the same time, the rush of the moment, made it turn out differently. But after she died, obviously there was the still needing to deal with Eikthyr, so he helped with that. After that, when the people started leaving and stuff, he wanted to just take his mind off of things, and so he went off to explore Gildemir and maybe, you know, have some memories resurfaced or whatever. What I wish I would have done is have him stay where she died. It would have made a lot more sense. But I think VRP brain took over, and I just wanted to explore Gildemir.
Right.
So that was a bit of a mistake that I feel like I've made.
God, this teleport command does not work the way that it says it does. And I do not know why. Need to be a space there? Nope. I've got all the debug and div commands turned on, but it does not function. I have to go looking around all of these areas, because it'll be in one of these. Let's try this one. What were his interactions with the other characters post Echo's death?
So Mora was one of the people that he really bonded with over this, because she bore no judgment to him whatsoever. So he was able to basically talk to her about all of this without feeling like he was judged for it.
Right.
Obviously, at that point, a lot of people stopped playing for various reasons. So he didn't really have that much interaction with anyone after that point. He spoke a few times with Kestrel, a few times with Mora. He also interacted with Armory and Caitlyn. Those 4 people kind of became his inner circle in a way. Despite the fact that he didn't tell Armory everything for very obvious reasons.
Yes.
You know, the fact that he loved Echo and Echo was like, you know, absolutely fucking abused the shit out of Armory. So
She did. She did a number of things that we learned about last week. It may be self-indulgent of me. What did he think of Shaw?
at first, obviously, it was like, I don't trust you. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
After the whole crafting thing that we did, I know that. I'll get to that in a bit. But Shaw ended up being this kind of person where he was like, he's all right. I can trust him with some things, especially because he's in the same situation as I am. But we never really got to interact much, so he's just kind of an acquaintance.
Yeah. Did Stylist eventually move back to Gildemir, or did he make like most other people?
No. He had no desire to go back to Gildemir. That's why he made the Home in the Mist. His end game was taking care of the lost wisps that showed up in the Mother Tree's bows.
Ah, I see.
Because I don't know if you read the journal from Elaine.
Yes, I thought that I was the first one to find it, but I don't think I was. I know I found it, and I left it there because I didn't want to be one of those players who just takes a book and then never shows anyone anything. But I couldn't even read the thing when I found it because there was a bug with the book. Eventually I took Vile and Mora back there and we were able to read it, and then Mora took it.
Yeah. So you know in the book, obviously, what Echo was.
Yes. A sapling, a spirit herself.
Yeah. So the reason that he ended up basically wanting to take care of the sprites is because he believed that Lahale, in creating or in his experimentation with Aiter and the Mother Tree, he had forced a bond on Echo, which basically caused her to become who she was.
Interesting.
And so he wanted something like that to not happen again, basically. So he made an effort to want to help the Wisps find themselves, that kind of stuff. And basically not be lost.
One of the questions that Shaw asked her very early on was, I think, do you have a bond? Or have you bonded to a spirit? And I think her first answer was, it's complicated. And when he pushed for it, she said something that very much seemed like, I can't. I don't remember the exact wording, but it seemed to imply that she couldn't have a bond.
I mean, it's fair. Kenzo believed in one aspect of it because that's what he wanted to believe. Because if it had if he had basically been told another truth, then he would not have put in so much effort into helping the Wisps.
I really like this walkway, but I can't find. Must not have reconnected it. Yeah. Wow. Ads in a minute. Oh yeah, we're gonna get one more ad break, and then I think we can finish off. The Wisps was,
Yeah, it's been a while.
yeah, it's been 2 hours 15. The Wisp thing was really interesting to me. I liked the way that there was very much a like using every part of the buffalo in terms of what is in Valheim, uh, into with the supernatural stuff. And I got to the stage where I thought, I wish that is how canonically Valheim stuff worked. I'm now going to have trouble from now on viewing things in future seasons in terms of Aiter as anything but being related to what's happened in season 13.
Yeah, it happens.
It's going to take a little bit of a reset.
I really liked the way that the Wisps were implemented in this.
Yeah.
With the Wisp lights, because it gave the Wisp lights so much more value and depth.
Yes.
Rather than just being like, oh, it pushes away the mist. No,
right.
like there's like these are fragments. There's an ad running right now, so I'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We can still sort of chat about stuff. It's why I brought up non story related things. Because the thing that I was the thing that bothered me about progression the entire season was how quickly people just booked it towards advancing as quickly as possible. Like, grind as much as possible, farm as much as possible, just, it's like, you see it online, where people say, oh my god, this video game has so little content. And then you find out that they burned through the 20 hours of content in 10 hours. Because they just no-lifed it for over the course of a day. And that's what seems to happen with progression in VRP, which I'm really not a fan of. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about it, and they can feel however they want. But I was really happy when I found out that you could get wisps, because I found one. I killed like a 3-star Seeker warrior, I think. I got it into a fight with a bunch of Durgar. And a wisp dropped from it. And so I was like, oh shit, I haven't found one of these yet because I hadn't found the moon shrines yet. And I didn't even know they existed. And we didn't have those Yagluth wisp attractors. So I thought, oh, interesting, they're doing something a little bit different with wisps. So I found one. Naturally, it said recipe unlocked. And I go back and I check. I have a look at the forge, and it's not there. You can't make the wisp light yet. And I thought, oh, yay! And it made me so happy. It made me so happy that right after Mistland's opening, not everyone was... The entire server wasn't going to be running around with a wisp light. Which means that it wouldn't be special. So...
That is a particular design decision that the admins have made, I think, for the past 4 seasons, maybe even before. I don't know, because I didn't play in seasons 7 and 8. So,
right. I think it's well worth doing with more. I think that needs to be done more with every piece of progression. More stuff needs to be made special. Because what happens is, a new player comes in, for example. I can only use myself as an example. Season 12, I come in and it's like a month before end of season, maybe even half a month, I don't even remember anymore. And I come in and I say, oh yeah, I found this thing. Whatever the hell it was. And everyone just goes, and? Yeah, we found that months ago. It's not special anymore. It's not special. You're not special for having found it. And I'm sitting here like excited to have found something cool. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, me being excited about this was basically pointless.
Yeah, that's why whenever a new progression happens, recipes are usually locked for an entire day so that people who do rush for resources can't actually do anything with it.
I think it needs to be longer. Not a week, that's too long. But I think like 48 hours. I think the recipe lock needs to be longer. Because what happens is... Welcome back from the ads, everyone. Because what happens is... the recipes unlock, and what does everyone do? They not everyone, of course, but most people just instantly make all the best stuff. Because they have ground out all the resources. Because they know that the recipes are going to unlock. If you wanted to take it a step further, say to people, we have locked the recipes, and we are not going to tell you when they unlock. They're going to unlock sometime within the next, 3 days or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. That's just... If I were in charge, he says imperiously. So, we've sort of come to the end of Enzo's story. He finds his... Would you say he got a happily ever after?
He got a bit of a bittersweet ending. Because he learns to live with the thought that Echo probably died. But the thing is that due to various signs that he received, there is, at the very least, the concept that Echo didn't really die. This is in part with the connection that I spoke about earlier, the whole heart thing and stuff like that. Because it also it was a two-way connection, because the kind of like there was a constant sensation that he felt when that connection was established, like a constant feeling of being watched. When she died, that kind of vanished. It pulled away, which left him with an empty feeling because he had gotten so used to it. It was like almost like a part of his life at that point. At a certain point, after he had processed his loss decently enough, a rather familiar kind of feeling returned in the same sense, but different at the same time. And Echo had mentioned to him on a couple of occasions that she was trying to find ways to move beyond Iter.
Yes.
It was detailed in the letter that you put up on screen earlier that Iter was but a vessel, not the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
There are more ways to, you know, exist beyond that, I would guess. So there is like it isn't like set in stone. It's purely speculation. But the belief is that she's still alive, but she has changed to a point where maybe she's not necessarily even physical anymore.
One of the things that it says in the letter is certain chains can only be broken one way. So she had to die to be able to become free.
That's the idea, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, she died. But at the same time, he knows she's out there and potentially even still watches over him. And as detailed in some of his journal entries that I ended up writing down as the last lore post for this season, he hopes to one day be able to figure out how to be able to interpret that change that she possibly underwent.
Right.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the series of Obi-Wan where he can hear Qui-Gon but can't see him.
Mm-hmm.
And then after his whole duel at the end of the series, he can now finally see Qui-Gon because Qui-Gon said, "You weren't ready to see me yet," but now he is basically. So
I see.
that was my angle on how his story ended, basically, for this season.
What does his life afterwards look like? Does he have any particular ambitions or goals? Or does he just set about living his life?
He continues to mend the wisps that require it, and he continues to pay his visits to, the trading post and Mora and the people that live in the wilds. And if they need work done or from the stylists, then obviously he would help them out.
Speaking of, the epilogue, I always like epilogue stuff. Finding out not everything needs a bow wrapped up on it, but sometimes it can be nice to see what comes after. God, where the hell is that? Down by the foot of the mother tree, isn't it?
It should be, yeah.
Where are you? There's the house. I think I went away from it. Oopsies. There it is. I think we can safely finish with our final questions. In front of this magnificent statue. And we found out last week that Dr. Ollie has Echo's remains hidden in a lab. What happens then? Who knows?
It was her. All right. Okay, that's good to know.
Apparently, according to Ollie, they made a ticket and was like, I want to recover the remains.
That's fair.
With all of that said and done, is there anything that you wanted to touch on that we didn't? Are there any events in Kenzo's experience that you wanted to highlight or bring to attention?
There were a couple of occasions where, and really, that is one of the things that I maybe feel a little bit like I feel like it could have gone differently a little bit. But like, for example, Armory obviously at a certain point mistrusted Kenzo, and he openly stated this. He openly questioned Kenzo, and he openly went and asked the hard questions like, "What is, Echo to you?" or like, "Who is she to you?" and basically stuff like that. But Armory always succeeded to ask these questions in the middle of like very large group gatherings. So Kenzo always found a way to worm himself out of it and not really answer those questions. But he was really the only one that really questioned him about that. Aside from Kestrel and Mora, although Mora was more on his side, whereas Kestrel was like also trying to be on his side, but also being like, "You're being an idiot. Why are you doing this?" Look, man, he had been a little sleeper agent the entirety of the season. He had learned how to lie to Armory.
Not even a sleeper agent. You were just a straight up double agent.
Yeah, I mean, he brokered information towards Echo of stuff that he found out about Lahale's vault of weapons. He actively delivered information to Echo who those weapons were in possession of, which persons had those weapons in possession. He also kind of maybe hinted a little bit at the factor that in the early days that Caitlyn and Armory will getting a little bit close to Echo. So that kind of also maybe caused Echo to jumpstart into, like, oh, I'm going to mess with him a little bit more, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Ooh.
He also, and this is something that very few people know, he also helped collect the shards for the bells that ushered in the Towers of Mist.
Dang.
And he also collected one of the first blood gems for Echo.
That I was kind of present for. I know that Mora was looking for it, I think.
Yeah.
Or
He did a lot for Echo behind the scenes, and no one really knew. One moment, though, that I still absolutely love to this day is him and Echo were talking at Paradise, and as they were wrapping up their conversation, Armory popped his head up from up on top of the roof, looking over, and you could feel the thing where he does with like the two fingers towards his eyes and then towards Kenzo, like, "I am." That is still a moment that like lives in my head rent free. That was so good.
I know what you're doing. Well, I don't know exactly, but you're doing something and I don't like it. Man, poor Armory. He really got put through the ringer this season.
Huh?
Armory really got put through the ringer this season.
Oh, yeah. Because obviously other scenarios that I liked are the more intimate ones with Echo, where they it felt like they were talking person to person rather than apparent to human. And slowly but surely, like seeing a different side to her, basically, delving into the depths of a character that is just completely I don't know. Echo was a very, very interesting character for me to delve into, I feel like, and I absolutely adored having taken that journey.
Yeah, your appreciation post said a lot of things, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on here, because I was like, what the fuck happened? Holy shit, this is a really intense appreciation post for Essa playing Echo, so I had to know what the hell was happening.
There was so much that happened and no one knows about. It's crazy.
One of the things I've been telling people now is there's nothing stopping you from going to your character lore post and just bullet pointing and just being like, hey everyone, me as the player here, I'm going to tell you all about what happened.
Yeah, but it takes away the magic from the character lore channel a bit.
That's true. Yeah, there are two more things that I want to post to Shaw's channel, which is a piece of fiction that I'm writing as part of the like post season stuff, as well as exactly what happened to him aberrant wise, like a medical report. Other than that, after everything we've talked about for the past 2.5 hours, what would you tell yourself earlier in the season? Is there anything new?
No, not new, but what I would have told myself is I would have hinted more at his albinism.
Ah.
Because throughout the season, people never kept asking questions. They didn't dig. You know, a guy with a deer head shows up and you just accept it. Okay. So I should have maybe played a little bit more of like, you know, hinting at the fact that like, oh, he has like snow white hair, he has red eyes or whatever, that kind of stuff. So
Like flash
I feel like I should have
flash
given
moments of
players.
his hands or arms.
Yeah. Why he's always gloved, why he's always covered, that kind of stuff. So I would have wanted to have given players more of an ability to have an insight into that side of the character, and I didn't. So that was one thing that I would tell myself.
Using the seasons, for example, it's the middle of summer, but Kenzo is still fully wrapped up, long sleeves, long pants.
And he would always walk in shadow.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And of course, the question I ask everybody as the last question, what is something that you or Kenzo were never asked, but you wish that you were?
That's such a tough question, man.
Good. It's one of my favorites. Why are you wearing that deer head? Could be one of them.
And that was asked though, just not that many
They
people.
they just didn't follow it up.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they didn't follow it up. It was just like, oh, it's a mask. You know, it's easier to sell a character than it is in a person. So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the follow-up question to that should have been, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, basically.
What are you talking about?
I think, yeah, okay, one question that I feel like I wish people would have asked Kenzo more was about his disappearance for 6 months.
Ah.
Because people did ask where he went, and he obviously like didn't necessarily outright say what happened. But for the most part, really, like, for having made such a scene in the earliest like pages of the season, where you know he had the opening of Paradise, making the armors, going around, making sure people are set up, that kind of stuff. When he disappeared for 6 months, people were looking for him, but when he finally showed back up, there were very few people that actually asked, "Where the fuck have you been?" Basically.
Yeah. They seemed so intent on looking for him before, and now when he's finally showed up, they just go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Squeak didn't like the mask. Cold did I.
That is also an encounter that will live rent free in my head. Is that he showed up with that mask in Riven Guards. That I think it was still Troll Skyrim or whatever it was called back in the day. And she basically just said, like, "I don't like the mask. It's those cold dead eyes." Oh god, I can't do the voice because I can't go that's high pitched, but it's it was so good.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Bun. This has been super cool, very enlightening.
Yeah.
Again, there's a very good reason that I really wanted you to come on and do this. This will be a VOD, of course. Anyone who's come in late, anyone who wants to rewatch it or rewind or go back to specific timestamps, this is all going to be available. It's all going to be on Twitch, on YouTube, available for links, ad-free. Ad-free. And so far, the music that I've been using doesn't get it muted on Twitch, which is great. The next interviews will be in about 5 hours, 4.5 hours-ish, with Edna. We're going to find out all about what the hell Edna was doing this season. And next week, we're going to have Ozzy about 2 hours before your interview today. And then at about the time that we interviewed you today, Bun, we're going to have the Schofield brothers. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
That's interesting. I did not consider that they would have thought about signing up for this stuff.
Yeah, well, I asked, because Tay streams, I think he's got, he's already got that kind of streak to him. And I asked him, and I think he said I would like for Griff to be here, for Jack to be around, because they were doing a duo thing. And I was like, hell yeah, man, all right, let's go for it. So we'll see if we can stay on time next week, because we are 40 minutes overdue, you and I. So we're going to sign off for now.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. Like, we're talking about the Stylist,
Oh yeah, I knew that there would be a lot to talk about. All right, thank you again, and thank you everyone for watching, for coming along. I hope that you enjoyed. And until next time, don't forget the 3 important rules of life. Imagine people complexly. Everyone you meet, everyone you see, everyone you talk to is going through a bunch of shit that you don't know about. Maybe cut them some slack, and maybe ask them a question or two, and then ask them some more. Rule 2 is be good to yourself, because no one else is on the hook to do it. And rule 3, the most important, life is uncertain, no one is promised tomorrow, eat your dessert first. Until next time.